So this is another experiment. Um, I had wanted to do something along the lines of highlighting my recently viewed list on BoardGameGeek, which is kind of an interesting way to have a ready-made list of games that roughly in the past week I've looked up on BoardGameGeek, read something about, um, checked up on, looked for the answer to a question or something. So yeah, the recently viewed list on BoardGameGeek seemed like a good ready-made list for a kind of just a catch-all. What games have I recently been thinking about, which is really probably the extent of it. But yeah, it gives me a ready-made list, and I can also put it in the form of a top, X list. So this is the top nine games that I'm going to talk about from my recently viewed list on BoardGameGeek. So at number 9 is Rome at War 1, Hannibal at Bay. I was looking at this again. I was looking at this because I noticed that I've been playing Hex Encounter war games for quite some time now, and I was wondering, maybe I should give Hex Encounter war games a break and try something else. And so I was thinking, okay, what area movement area map games do I have that I can think of? And the Rome at War series popped immediately to mind. So this, I think this was the first one. Another thing about this video and any more videos like this that I make, I'm doing everything off the top of my head, so I could get a ton of the particulars wrong. So please don't take this as anything but idle chatter. Actually, it is. It's nothing but idle chatter. So I think Hannibal at Bay was the first in the Rome at War series, and I think the picture here of the elephants is, I think, the second edition. So BoardGameGeek shows it as coming from 2000. Designer Stephen C. Jackson. I recognize the names for the artists, Brian J. Miller and Guy Riesen. Published obviously by Avalanche Press. Avalanche Press. Probably not reviled as much as Critical Hit in the online gaming communities, but right up there on any most wanted list. Yeah. They give a playing time of 2 hours. I don't know about that. Well, maybe I'll try it again soon. Mechanics they give is area movement, dice rolling. It is, if I remember correctly, bucket of dice combat system, which I've really never had a great problem with. At least the argument that I've heard that bucket of dice systems smooth out extreme variations in results. At least the argument sounds appealing. Of course, it seems to me that could be done with a CRT anyways, but in any case, bucket of dice combat systems by themselves have never caused me much heartburn. Yeah, so first game in the Rome at War series under the description. It says tactical game of moderate complexity. I would definitely say low moderate. Focus on Hannibal, Carthage versus Rome. Units are ready for combat strength and morale. Morale. For some reason, why do I not remember morale as being such a big factor in these games? I wonder. Maybe it's just the particular way morale is handled. Maybe morale is a key component in the rules, but maybe the way it's handled just doesn't make me recall morale as being that significant. Rules cover cavalry, elephants facing assaults, missile fire, legion, phalanx movement, and recovery. Activation system for leaders. Now that I remember. I remember something along the lines of you choose a leader and try to roll against the leader's activation value or something like that. Yeah, I don't really remember much more than that. Generally, you need a 6 roll to score hits, definitely. Small map, which is mounted. My second edition definitely does not have a mounted. Definitely did not come with mounted map boards. Oh gee, I don't even want to begin to tell you how much I dislike mounted maps. So give me unmounted maps any day. It's not hex based. Yeah, divided into numbered areas, irregular areas. Yes, 5 scenarios are provided. All can be completed in an hour or less. Yeah, I don't know about that. Excellent graphics. Yes, I always liked the graphics from this series. Actually, I think the great graphics from the series kind of led to the gameplay being just that much more, well, falling a bit flat. It did not fall flat enough that I will not play the game again. I definitely intend to, at some point, bring out this series again and give it another shot. I recall playing between the 3 games in the series that I have, this one, the Fading Legions, which is probably my favorite as I recall, and then the one with the Celts. Of the 3, I think I played a total of, say, 5 of the battles. I don't think I got to any of these, so if I get back to the series, I'll take a look, or I should say, when I get back to the series, I will take a look at playing one of these. I'll just see if one of these 5 scenarios looks interesting enough to try. So they have Watchtower at Agathocles, Winter 2004 BC, Scipio versus Hanno's Carthaginians. The Great Plains, I've heard of this one, April-May 203 BC, Carthaginian General Hasdrubal versus Scipio's legions. Cirta, Curta, whatever the correct pronunciation is, I'll say Cirta for now. May-June 203 BC, Massinissa and Syphax clash for the throne of Numidia, with the Romans backing Massinissa. Zama, of course, a very well-known battle, and sometimes Zama, I think, is included in lists of decisive battles from Western history. October 202 BC, Hannibal versus Rome, and Tunes. May 255 BC, Marcus Attilius Regulus versus Xanthippus from the First Punic War. So, yeah, the elephants, and the edition that I have is the second edition. There's a first edition that has a less dramatic cover. Yeah. All right, number 8 is Mistral, the Western Med, 1740 to 1748, published in 2011. Designer Ian Ware, publisher Red Sash Games. So this is why I looked at this, pulled this game up again. I've been thinking a lot about Red Sash Games recently again, and I did with EW's encouragement. I went ahead and took the plunge, and I think even on his recommendation, I think I ordered. I don't have it yet. It should be making its way across the country to me. The Limerick War or something like that. So I don't think I know hardly anything about the time period, which is something that I really like. I love plunging into a game covering an historical period that is completely new for me. I think that this one that I ordered is going to be along those lines. But I ordered this game to try out Red Sash games and see what I think of them. This one, if you can see this, this cover is set. Well, you can't see the cover very well. It's a very dramatic cover. It's the first of a set of naval games from Red Sash called Sea Lord. The series is called Sea Lords. Mistral covers the War of the Austrian Succession at sea, plus the concurrent War of Jenkins' Ear. Though relatively unknown, these conflicts, ranging from 1739 to 1748, comprised the First World War. Gee, I don't know how many people have made the claim for this war or that war being the First World War, but okay. The primary naval actions took place in 3 theaters: the English Channel and Bay of Biscay, the Caribbean, and the Western Mediterranean. Forces also clashed in India, along America's eastern seaboard, and in the Pacific. Each of the other games covers one of these theaters. Mistral covers the Western Mediterranean, where Spain tried to keep her lines of communication open to her army in Italy, and France's Toulon fleet continually harassed the British. Sounds just very interesting. They call it a strategy game. You command either the British or Bourbon fleets. Orders are handed down to you from your admiralty. This just sounds very interesting. It sounds very interesting, very intriguing. You must try to fulfill them within the framework of the wider war, which is represented by a set of events. I like the sound of this a lot. Yeah, so hopefully I can get a taste of this general Red Sash Games, I guess, design philosophy with the one that I ordered. If not, then I can always take another plunge, take another stab at a Red Sash game. We'll see. So this is this cover I was talking about. Just first of all, it's very, very interesting that, now, assuming that this picture is doing justice to the actual cover, it's very interesting that they chose this. Oh wow, that on the screen that doesn't look anything like it does on my screen. My screen, it's a deep, deep purple background with obviously the black, line drawing superimposed over that. But in any case, it's always been incredibly evocative. I'm not sure of what, but it's just always very striking. From the first time I saw this cover, I was like, wow, that's what's going on there with that game, and isn't that exactly what they want to do, right? So Mistral, the War of the Austrian Succession at Sea, Med Theater, 1739 to 1748. Number 7, Newport, 1600. Why was I looking this up again? This one I have. I was actually looking for my Avec Infini Regret, AIR. I was looking for my AIR copy, and I was having trouble finding it, and by chance I pulled this one out of my collection before I found AIR. So Newport 1600, I fumbled through a few turns once before, and I'm thinking of pulling this one out and giving it another full-blown try. I was really intrigued by the mechanics the last time I again played around with it. I should say that the last time was about a year, and it was a few years ago now. So this came out in 2012. I probably got my copy in 2013. Yeah, I probably got my copy in 2013, and I probably played it that same year, or yeah, probably that same year. So it has been a couple of years now. For a magazine game, wow, 6.93. I consider that to be fairly high rating for a magazine game. It is Vivictus Games, which, as a company, as a brand, Vivictus always captures my attention. I will always take a second look at anything with the Vivictus name on it. The designer is Florent Coupeau. Now, I got this game because reading here on Board Game Geek, I think it was, if I remember correctly, led me to believe that Newport 1600 was a streamlined, or you might say simplified. Doesn't matter to me. It's too much. I prefer streamlined. I was led to believe it was a streamlined version of the Musket and Pike Battle series, and so for that reason alone, I thought, hey, I want to get a hold of this, try it out, and if I can, fully both pick up and enjoy this game, then it seems to me that would be a good indication that I have not wasted all this money on the Musket and Pike Battle series that I have already shelled out. And so, like I said, I did like the few turns that I stepped through very slowly before, and I do plan on, I'm thinking strongly about breaking this one out again and trying it again and giving it a full, putting it through a full exercise. So this is the description. Well, yeah, so it is given the family. It is, Board Game Geek gives it as related to the family Musket and Pike Battle series. Newport 1600 is a follow-up scenario of Paris Val bien una mesa from Vivictus 50. The rules are derived from Musket and Pike GMT games. It includes a rules booklet of 6 pages, 108 counters, and 1 A3 map. The Battle of Newport is an episode of the 80 Years' War, which took place July 2nd. Okay, the battle took place July 2nd, 1600, near the town of Newport, between the Dutch army commanded by Maurice of Nassau, who was a figure Maurice figures prominently in the history of the art of war in the Western world, and the Spanish army commanded by Albert of Austria, Habsburg. Against all odds, the Dutch defeat the Spanish tercios in battle. The lack of supplies and with no support from the local population, Maurice of Nassau must abandon the march on Dunkirk. Available with French rules, but English rules can be downloaded from Vivictus website, which I did. Yeah, so that's why I was looking at this again. I was thinking about giving this a try again as a stepping stone to trying AIR again, which will be a stepping stone to finally stepping into the Musket and Pike Battle series. Though I have no idea which one from that series I will try first. Number 6 is Paris Val bien una mesa, 2003, the precursor to Newport 1600, and I really don't remember why I was looking at this on Board Game Geek. Again, a higher than you would expect rating of 6.83. Ben Hall is designer, of course, of this, Paris Val bien una mesa, which is given as, again, it covers 2 battles of the French religion wars. Dreux, 1562, and Ivry, 1590. The game uses a slightly streamlined version of the rules used in Ben Hull's other game, This Accursed Civil War. So maybe that's where I got the idea of streamlining. These battles are somewhat smaller than in the GMT game, as befitting the smaller format offered by Vivictus. Okay, so I just want to say, since I don't have this one, and maybe I should just eventually just get this game, but I'll tell you, thinking about this game, thinking about Newport 1600, thinking about AIR, and and thinking about the whole Musket and Pike Battle series, not to toot anyone's horn for them, but Ben Hull deserves a very special award from all of us war gamers because of this. In recent discussions with other experienced war gamers, very interesting discussions, we've been talking about the general idea that so many war gamers, and this is well, this just is, and actually we can talk about where it comes from. I mean, I think so many of us war gamers, I know it's true for me, and I know it's true for many others. I mean, this all comes from starting as boys, fascinated with images and implements and stories of war, gallant soldiers, great captains, and all the rest of it. There's something deep psychologically, sociologically, and I won't even go any further into that, but basically it's all these war games and this pastime is feeding off of some primeval dynamic. But having said that, so many gamers want more game and less history. They want more game and less reality. They want more action, less even experience, I think. But basically, and what I was talking about with these other experienced or gamers much more experienced than me is that there is this streak through the hobby that really puts, for lack of a better way, the games, the action, the excitement, the drama rises to the top, and generally sinking to the bottom is the simulation, the reality, even the insights into the nature of war, the nature of combat, etc., etc. That generally sinks to the bottom. Neither good nor bad, neither here nor there. I would say that none of that necessarily means anything except for one thing, and the one area where I think this discussion means a lot is if you're at all thinking about designing a war game, because I do think that many of us, not all of us, but many of us should be considering some type of contribution to the pastime, to the hobby, to the whatever you want to call it. If you are going to devote so much of your free time to such a pastime. And one way, of course, is to design games. There are many, many, many other ways to contribute, obviously, and men and women across the world are finding many different ways to contribute, right? But one way, of course, is design. So if you're at all thinking about designing, I think you pretty much head right smack into the issue I'm talking about. So do you design a game for fun? Do you design a game for history? Do you design a game for excitement, or do you design a game to capture some piece of reality, right? Anyways, without getting into that discussion, clearly standing head and shoulders above so many others, Ben Hull has taken obscure historical periods, obscure historical topics, and made very popular, very successful games. And there at least is the appearance that he tried to capture and provide insights to those who have studied these historical periods much less than obviously he has. He's made games that capture and transmit those insights. And for that and other reasons, he really deserves a special kind of lifetime achievement award. So that's okay. So 9876, number 5 is Red Sash Games. So here it is right here. I looked through all the games. So we have Charlie's. I'm not going to go through them all, but there's Charlie's Year Redux, Cockpit of Europe. I looked at Cockpit of Europe. Cockpit of Europe would have been the game that I think I would have been most comfortable and familiar with. And that's probably the game I would have gone with, except, okay, we have Heirs of the Golden Horde. That sounds very interesting. Highland Quorum, Kabinettskrieg, A Lesser Wrath, Somar Skrala, Mistral, we already talked about, Perdition to King George, Pro Religione e Libertate, sort by average rating. Let's see what comes up with sorting by average rating. Okay, Mistral is at the top, followed by Cockpit of Europe, Kabinettskrieg, Yellow Jack, sounds interesting, Highland Quorum, Charlie's Year, there it is, Remember Limerick, The War of the Two Kings, Ireland, 1689 to 1691. So this is the game that I jumped on, ordered. Hasn't arrived yet, but I'm happy I finally took the plunge to take a much closer look at Red Sash Games. And so, like I said, it'll be interesting to look at a time period that I just don't know that much about. I don't think Ireland, 1689 to 1691. Just these, again, these types of game. I can't say obscure, and I don't like to say obscure because for some it's probably not obscure at all. But these periods of history, and there are a ton of them that are just not on the beaten path, let's say. And then when we get war games highlighting them, it just makes the hobby that much more rich. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Stone Heights, 2007. This is ATS, Advanced Tobruk System. This is for an ATS game. This is fairly highly rated, 7.92. I'm guessing it probably has to do with the historical topic. Allows players to recreate squad level action. Yeah, that's ATS. A new ATS, well, it was new in 2007. Wow, I didn't realize it was that old already. Designed by Pedro Rami and Ray Tapio. I know Ray Tapio is the man behind Critical Hit and ATS. Not sure how to pronounce his last name. Tapio. A new ATS game designed on site by Pedro Rami. French armor clashes with elite German troops in 1940. And I apologize to Pedro if I mispronounce his last name. Amazing map, unique orders of battle. See massive char. I'm not sure I've ever heard the word pronounced. Is it car? Char? Probably char. Char B1. B. French tanks smashed through the gardens of Stone. Researched locally using French language sources. Sounds great. Anyways, I was looking up this game because I was trying to find replacement infantry counters, because I'm happy that I got the game. I'm not happy that my French infantry counters are so off die cut that they're pretty much not usable. Not usable in my book anyways. I do think that the die cutting is so far off that it's cutting into the the values on the counters. I mean, it's just the French infantry personnel counters, but then again, I don't consider the game playable without the French 1940 personnel counters, and that's too bad. So I will look for replacements, and when I get that, I will think I have a playable Stone Heights from the ATS series. And then number three on the list, number 9 top 9 recently viewed on Board Game Geek games, Caesar and Gallia. Of course, I've been looking at this. Again, designed by Joseph Miranda, but importantly, this is considered part of the Ancient Wars series. I got this game. I think it's the only one that I have in the Ancient Wars series, and I got it because basically it was my entree game to this series. It was the one that I could most easily get a hold of, and I wanted to try out this series. If I like it, I will certainly go on to try to acquire some of the others, like Trajan, Roman Civil War, Germania. I would probably go for my own interest. I would probably go Germania next, followed very closely by Trajan, and then last by Roman Civil War. But I've heard so many good things about this series, and two, I think it was. I think my reading online led me to believe that this was a really good, solid operational look at ancient warfare. And if that's true, if it is a solid operational look at ancient warfare, then that alone will make me want to take a closer look at it. Best operational ancient game. Yeah, hex-based map based on the ancient style of cartography. I did notice that when I unfolded the map recently. Not as good as the previous two. That probably explains, maybe a bit weaker due to the situation. It's probably why it was the weakest game in a brilliant series. That's probably why I was able to get into the system with this one. I recognize that. I recognized when I got a hold of it that it was probably the most available because it was the least desirable in the series, but I still thought, I mean, I've done this before. I don't mind getting, the quote-unquote least popular in a series in order to test out the series and because I will give it a lot of I'll give it wide berth, knowing that people consider it to be the weakest in the series. Interesting operational system. Yeah, so I'm definitely happy I got the first for me in the Ancient Wars series. Yeah, and now number 2 from the list, Bylan, 1808. I was looking at this game again after watching a couple weeks ago now the Hamtag crew talking about games you may not have heard of. I thought, hey, this is I have this game, Bylan 1808, still unpunched. Have not. I don't even think I've read the rules yet, but I thought of this game as a game that would probably be on my list of games that you've probably not heard of. It says it's part of a Shadow of the Eagle series, which I know next to nothing about. This is Volume 2 in the Shadow of the Eagle Operational Napoleonic System. Covers the Battle of Bylan, 19 July 1808. I'll say it looks interesting. I'll say it looks nice. But I really don't think looking nice has much at all to do with gameplay. So it has a really modest 6.51 rating. but it's still being a game on a battle that is definitely not, your typical high profile Napoleonic battle. I thought I would grab one when I had the opportunity, and I'm happy I did. Um, let's see. Not really that much at all. People don't have that much to say about it at all on Board Game Geek, but if I can get it under the camera, I think that would be nice. And number one on the list, Sweden Fights On, from the Musket and Pike Battle series. I think I was looking at this game because I do think this is the only one from the series that I don't have, I think. And I haven't played any of them yet, which is truly a crime. So Sweden Fights On, published 2003. I thought this was early on, and sure enough, it is the second volume in the Musket and Pike Battle series, followed, of course, This Accursed Civil War, which I have. Features limbered guns, double-sized batteries, organic regimental artillery. System emphasizes command and control. Absolutely. 4 battles: Nördlingen, 1634, Wittstock, 1636, Second Breitenfeld, 1642, and Jankau, 1645. And I can't think of any particular reason why I haven't picked up this one yet. I guess there is no particular reason. I guess it just, if I have them all, if I have them all but one, I guess one had to be at the bottom of the list. Yeah, there is no real reason to not get it. It is always nice to see Callendale provide a series. So when I get Sweden Fights On someday, and before I play, I will definitely watch Callendale's video series here on the game and watch them very closely, as I like to do. Yeah, so Sweden Fights On. Consim World Discussion Forum, by the way. I probably even have this one bookmarked in my Consim World Forum, whatever you call it, profile, whatever you call it. Consim World Forum is definitely, it has been hugely worthwhile for me in the past, but always for hunting down commentary on games I'm already interested in, already have, and I'm actually getting ready to play. I just don't browse Consim World at all. If I'm going to just plain browse, it's generally Board Game Geek. But Consim World discussion forums are great for me to go find particular material on a game, and I bookmark all my favorite games that I have found discussions on there at Consim World Forum. Probably all I have to say for now. That was 9 from the recently viewed list on my profile in Board Game Geek.